What are runes? My name is Burke, and in this episode of Free TV, we're going to answer that question in an episode beginning a series on runes. So to start with, a dictionary definition of runes would be an ancient Germanic alphabet. But we can do a lot better than a dictionary definition thanks to attending a lecture recently by Dr. Stephen Flowers, better known by his pen name, Edward Thorson. Let's see what Dr. Flowers has to say about the subject.
Well, first we have to say, what the heck are runes, right? And most people think of them as letters or some kind of a letter in the alphabet, it's an alphabet form, and so forth. Well, that is not what the word means in the Germanic language. It means a mystery, mysterion in Greek. When Wolfius, Gothic bishop that wrote, translated the Bible into Gothic, when he translated the word mysterium, the mysteries of the kingdom of God, they used the word logos. So there we see in the 300s, this is how this word is being used. And of course, in the inscriptions themselves, the word is used, either in singular or plural, and it's referring to the inscription itself, and it had saying that these are derived from the gods. This is the mysteries and so forth. When in Icelandic, for example, when the word for a letter or used, it would be stav. Stay is by what the letter. When they say letter, rune remains primarily a mystery, and then secondarily translate to the symbols of the mysteries, the runes.
And as heathens, we want a deeper dive than just a dictionary. So one of the things that you would ask yourself to get a better answer is, what do heathens use the runes for? And so the answer to that would be two things. They have mundane uses and they have magico-religious uses. The origin of the runes, much like the question, what do heathens use the runes for, can be attributed to two different things: the religico-magic aspect and the strict mundane alphabetic aspect. And so for the religico-magic aspect, that would be in the Eddas, where it talks about Odin sacrificing himself for 9 nights upon the tree, wounded and sacrificed to himself with the spear, and reaching down and taking up the runes. Now, the runes have no particular orthography, and this is a problem for a lot of people nowadays, but for a lot of people it's not, and it really shouldn't be. Orthography is just a very big word that means how a language is written, the grammatical rules, things that apply to the language itself. So the Futhark that most heathens use today is the Elder Futhark. It is the oldest Futhark, comprised of 24 letters or staves. We call them rune staves properly. So these rune staves are arranged in a system of 3 etts. So these 3 etts come from an artifact that is called the Vadstena Bracteate. It's a little gold disc that I'll put up right here. And it has the runes of the Elder Futhark inscribed, and they're separated by 2 dots into these 3 etts. Later Icelandic manuscripts name these 3 etts as Freyr's ett, Hagal's ett, and Tyr's ett, after Fehu, Hagalaz, and Tiwaz, for Freyr, Heimdall, and Tyr. If you want to know more about the history of the runes, you can check out this book, The Revival of the Runes, by Dr. Stephen Flowers, which is an excellent book on the development and the study of the runes. It talks a lot about the medieval revival, but mainly by the Swedes, and how they were used for military purposes, for codes, and all these things. One of the things that is very important with the Futhark being divided into 3 etts is the existence of code runes. And we know from rune stones and from artifacts that survive that the ancient heathens used the runes for codes, as you can see in these stones. So what they would do is they would take one end of a staff, would have 1 to 3 hash marks, and the other end would have 1 to 8 hash marks. And so those things stood for the number of the set, either the first, second, or third set, and the position of the rune in that set. So 1-1 would be F, 1-2 would be Nothes, and 3-2 would be Bracano. Another aspect of the runes is the word rune itself. Rune means a secret. And another Icelandic manuscript tradition is the tradition of the Galdr books, or the magic books. And these are spell books that survive from the medieval time up almost into modern times. The 19th century is the most recent before we call things modern, where you don't really know. There's so much scholarship out there that it may or may not be an unbroken tradition. But certainly in medieval times, they had a tradition of these runes, which were not actually rune staves, they were rune spells, rune galders, as you can see in the Icelandic Magic Museum. This is a copy right here of an original document for this, but this is part of the witch trial record, and you can see in there the staves that they put down as evidence of the witchcraft. This is a staff to see a ghost, which we see, interestingly enough, Elder Futhark being used right there. The manas, Wunyo and Wunyo, man is the joy of man. And I suppose that's the spirit. And then you have more of the Galdr staves. But these Galdr books exist and will tell you exactly how to do these things. Some of the runes are actually for entheogenic substances, such as Amanita muscaria, a very interesting subject that we can cover in a later video. This is a thing that is not attested from heathen times, but it does derive from an Icelandic tradition of runes, which is really unbroken. And we'll do some more videos showing that with artifacts, some of which we'll put in this video right here. So I'm here in the National Museum in Iceland, and I was going out in the lobby at the top after looking at the exhibit, and I saw this chair. And I thought about things like the Völustool, and this is the chair of Thorun Jonsdottir, who was the daughter of Jon Eriksson, who, if you read the lore, he figures in a lot of things. And I thought it was really cool in and of itself, so I was looking at it, and I noticed that it has these runic inscriptions. And then I started looking at them more closely. It also has them up at the top, right here, going this line. And I'm pretty sure this is Guthrun, but my Norse is not very good. So, as we mentioned, this is the start of a series on the runes that we're going to be doing. One of the biggest questions that people have is, how do I learn the runes? So, in the back of our Prozetta, we included an appendix which has a rune primer. We have rune primers also in our Havamal for Heathens, and we have a rune book. However, we are going to start a video series with illustrations on how to read and write in the runes. We're going to put some other people in here on divination, how to read the flow of weird, and all of these different things that have to do with the runes. So, we hope that you enjoyed this video. We look forward to providing you more quality content. Hopefully, in the coming year, we will be able to bring you videos from our very own heathen temple, along with the other heathen temple that's being built here in Texas. So, if you enjoy this, if you like this, click the like, click the subscribe, leave us some good comments, and share this with your friends. And as we say down here in Texas, skål, y'all.